This week on GamePron News, Sony announced the eagerly awaited follow-up to the PSP. We find out why Microsoft labelled an 11-year-old autistic boy a cheater and discover that sometimes stealing virtual goods is just as bad as pinching the real thing. The Japanese novelisation of Ico is set to make its English debut, and while we'd nearly forgotten about I'm Alive, Ubisoft tell us it's actually out this year. Indie developer The Behemoth add a touch of charity to Castle Crashers, and Epic Games pokes fun at the entire games industry in the lead up to Bulletstorm. Hi, I'm Jessica Citizen. Kicking off the new year in style, hardware giant Sony have revealed their plans for the follow-up to the PlayStation Portable. Despite the rumours, it's not called the PSP2, instead this little gadget will be known by the codename NGP, Next Generation Portable. Due for release by the end of the year, it's a pretty special piece of kit. Dual analog sticks, 5-inch OLED touchscreen, 3G and Wi-Fi support are nothing to sneeze at. A rear touchpad, dual cameras, stereo speakers, a microphone, Bluetooth, built-in GPS, and did we mention the 6-axis motion sensing system? Under the hood, there's a 4-core ARM Cortex A9 core processor and a hefty GPU too. Sony is saying that this one will be just as powerful as the PlayStation 3, so you're forgiven for being a little bit excited. Sony aren't ignoring their current consoles, however. The upcoming 3.60 PS3 firmware update will introduce the ability to save games to the cloud. Simply referred to as online saving, this means that all of your save game files no longer have to clutter up your hard drive. It means that if your console breaks, you'll have a handy backup, and it might also mean that you'll be able to continue your save games on your mate's PS3. It will be restricted to PlayStation Plus members only, and game developers can choose whether or not to use the technology. It's an idea we've already seen work well on Steam, so fingers crossed it'll be a hit with the console developers too. Now, the internet loves an underdog, and who better to rally behind than an 11-year-old autistic boy who's been accused of cheating on Xbox Live. Last week, Microsoft reset Julius Jackson's gamer score and stripped all of his achievements, adding cheater to his gamertag. His mother Jennifer complained that playing games on Xbox Live was Julius's only social outlet and that Microsoft had acted unfairly. The story she told was that her son spent upwards of 12 hours a day on the console and earned all of his achievements through hard work and skill. Then Stephen Toulouse got involved. He's the head of Xbox Live enforcement and explained that Julius's account recently unlocked the Recon armor in Halo 3. To unlock that particular armor, a gamer must earn a series of achievements which can only be accessed online and in a specific order. The problem, of course, is that young Julius's gamertag, ZombieKill67, had unlocked the achievements while offline and in an incorrect sequence. When this was revealed, Jennifer admitted that her son had recently handed his Xbox Live login details to an online friend specifically to unlock the armor. She apparently didn't worry about it too much as it wasn't a bank password or anything big. Let's just hope that Julius is more careful with his new gamertag, which he's set up using the free month of Xbox Live access given to him by Microsoft. Why? We don't know. A cheater of a very different sort recently pleaded guilty in a British court. Ashley Mitchell admitted that he had accessed a Zynga poker servers in mid-2009, helping himself to 400 billion virtual poker chips. He then proceeded to sell a bunch of the chips on the black market, making a tidy £53,000 profit. The alleged black market value of the chips was £184,000. If Zynga had sold them legitimately, however, their value would have been closer to $12 million. The nature of these virtual goods made the case more complex than a traditional fraud. Zynga were not deprived of any goods, as the company can always create more virtual chips. The main problem in this situation, according to the prosecution, would be a knock-on effect if the company lost legitimate online customers who were buying their chips elsewhere. Mr. Mitchell is currently remanded in custody, but is facing a substantial jail sentence for his crimes. Regardless of whether or not you've ever played it, you'd know about Ico. It's a cult favourite for the PS2, an adventure in minimalism from Fumito Ueda. The game was turned into a novel back in 2002, but the book was never released outside of Japan until now. Publishers Viz Media have announced that Ico Castle of the Mist will be translated into English. While they're keeping quiet on official dates, I'd keep an eye out around the middle of the year. Also coming out this year after a long wait, Ubisoft's survival action game I'm Alive. We first heard about the game back at E3 2008, and then nothing really since. This week, however, Ubisoft Toronto Managing Director Jade Raymond has spoken about the game. While she's no longer attached to the project, she's made a few comments that have the game's world in a bit of a state. Firstly, the game will be out by the end of the year, but that's the good news. The not so good news for hardcore gamers is that I Am Alive will be a digital only release hitting PlayStation Network and Xbox Live, but not retail stores. There's also been no talk of a PC version at this time. The even worse news, however, Ubisoft apparently doesn't have much faith in the title. Ouch. It's a startling revelation from the traditionally AAA publisher, but the game has been languishing for some time now. If they really wanted it published, we would be playing it already. The other way of looking at it, if you like conspiracy theories, is that this is an awesome piece of reverse psychology. You accidentally leak a piece of information that leads to gamers working themselves into a frenzy over an unreleased title. Instant classic! Smooth move, Ubisoft! Now, from a big company to a small one. The Behemoth is an indie developer and the company loves its fans. So, when their fans ask for something, the Behemoth aims to please. It seems an awful lot of people have been asking the Behemoth for just one thing recently, a pink knight to join in all the fun of Castle Crashers. After some thinking music, a few sketches and a couple of late nights, your wish is their command. They will be introducing the pink knight, armed with a lollipop no less, into Castle Crashers over the next little while. The Pink Knight pack will cost $1.99 when it hits the PlayStation Network next week, which is already a pretty sweet deal. But it gets sweeter. 100% of the Behemoth's revenue from sales of the pack will go straight to charities that work on breast cancer research. And finally, speaking of all things awesome, Epic Games and People Can Fly have just put the finishing touches on their upcoming blockbuster Bulletstorm. If you can't wait the few weeks until it's released, however, they've also provided you with a solution.
War never changes. Or does it?
Here's your objective. Blah, 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 secret base. Blah, 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 nuclear missile bomb. Blah, 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 counting on you. Good luck.
The war has changed.
This is Duty Calls, the calm before the storm, and it's been designed to underscore just how Bulletstorm puts the fun back in the gun. It's got immersive dialogue from the front lines, cold, calculated realism, iconic sound effects, significant and historically accurate props, and a true-life reloading system which allows for mistakes in putting the cartridge in the gun. Duty Calls is free, it's downloadable from GamePron's file library, and it's a work of parody in case you hadn't noticed. Until next week, I'm Jessica Citizen, and this is GamePron News.